Okay. Hello, everyone. Before we start the lecture, I want to say about some organization points. First, the lecture is run about 1 hour and ends at 8 p.m. And if you have a question, please up your hand. I give you the microphone and you can say your question. And I think we can start.
Yes. Could you switch the presentation? Great. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Alишer. I came here today from Astana in order to talk to you about the fastest way to test your startup idea, and also optimize some stuff if we have time. So briefly about myself, I have graduated from Nazarbayev University in 2023, 2 years ago, but I've studied economics there. So during my second years of studies, I guess I decided that I actually don't want to be an economist. It was interesting, but it just wasn't for me. So I decided to start learning design by myself, and it was quite interesting journey that lasted several years because I started with graphic design, then I switched to web design, then UX, UI design, and it brought me to web development. So after working for about 1.5 years as a designer, I started to work as a software engineer. And for the last 3 years, I've been working in several startups, both here in Kazakhstan and abroad remotely. But for the past 6 months, I've been working for my own product. It's called, probably you've seen in the announcement, it's been called on GoKZ. We recently had a rebranding. It's now called KursClick. So basically, this platform allows you, me, or basically anyone who can share or won't share some knowledge to turn his video lectures, files, documents, textbooks, anything into structured lessons materials. And also it provides for your students, if you're a teacher, for example, for your students, AI assistant that also has access to these materials. So its answers and support are much better than ChatGPT's answer because it has actual access to your files. So basically, you can see how the interface looks. It's basically the same as ChatGPT. You have chat, you have lessons, you cannot touch your videos, etc. So it's very useful for teachers and experts who want to share knowledge. So having said that, you've probably noticed that my whole journey was a lot about startups. I personally prefer to work in startups and not in corporate big companies because I like the fast-paced environment where everything happens quickly. You have to work a lot in order to, with small team, to create something very beautiful and big. So as you probably heard about startups, I guess all of you had some experience or you heard anything about startups. You know that a big portion of starting your startup is about your startup idea. Well, basically, why should you even care about your startup idea and its validation? This point of validating a startup idea actually can be applied not only to startups, but also to any traditional business. It works almost the same. So, for example, let's imagine that you want to open a flower shop here in Karaganda. You open Tugis and you see that there is a lot of demand and a lot of supply because there are, for example, over 100 flower shops in one city. And you think, okay, it means that your idea is kind of validated and you can open your shop and be kind of successful. But for example, you think a lot of, or all the flowers in these shops are only roses. Nobody actually sells daisies. And you decide, okay, I will open my shop that will only focus on daisies. Without any research, without anything, you invest your money, invest a lot of effort, and then you realize that actually nobody wants this. And you have no customer except for your maybe relatives and friends. And this error happened because you only applied one method of validating your idea. It brings us to the slide. So how to actually validate your startup idea? So the first step to do is customer research, competitor research. As we did in our imaginary situation, we wanted to open a flower shop and we decided to open it to GIS and see what our competitors do. But instead of actually following what they do, instead of opening a roses shop, we decided to do the opposite, to sell something that nobody sells, because we thought it would be unique. And without anything, without any research or further steps, we decided to invest money, and probably we will lose a lot because we had no the steps. So this idea of selling daisies instead of roses in this comparison could be described as innovative idea, because nobody is doing the same thing on your market. So if you have some kind of innovative idea, you probably want to do the second step, customer development. What it basically means in a nutshell, it's just going and talk to your potential customer, ask them several questions. For example, about their pain points, about their problem, what they experience, how they feel about certain topics that relate to your potential business, potential startup. But instead of asking direct questions, like, for example, hello, I want to open this daisy shop, would you buy it if I sell it? You should ask questions, as I said, relative to their pain points. Because if you ask, for example, your mom or your father or your friend about will they potentially buy your product, of course they say, yes, I will. And it's a very bad approach. But customer development is a whole topic for another lecture. The main point here is that if you have innovative idea, you should go and talk to your potential customers about their pain points. Okay, you've done that. Let's imagine that your potential customers actually said, yes, our pain point is that we only have roses. We don't have any options to buy. We actually would like to buy something. For example, daisies, or maybe something like, peon or something else, and there is no supply. It might be a good sign for you. It might validate your idea, not 100%, but probably for like 50%. Okay, you had 2 steps covered. The next step is to actually build your MVP, minimum viable product. But instead of building, the whole product, you should spend as less time as you possibly can, and as less money as you possibly can. You should not focus on, on design and things like that. You should only focus on one feature you want to implement and to build your minimum version of product around it. So if you do that, after you do that, you go to your potential customers that told you about their problems, about this, daisy supply or another problem you had in your head, and you offer them to buy it for, whatever price you think is good for your product. And if they, after saying that, we had this problem, if they refuse to buy anything about your product, they just say, no, we're not ready to pay for this product. It could be a sign for you. It could be, a red flag for your startup idea, because, well, people actually don't want to pay for that. Okay, it means that you should go to step 2, best choice. Or if your idea completely failed, if nobody actually wanted and they hated it, you should go to maybe step 1, or maybe to pivoting to another idea. Okay, let's imagine that we go to step 2, to customer development, and ask again questions. And then using another iteration, we just build another version of our MVP. And imagine we succeed, and some people actually buy our minimum viable product. It could be, for example, it could be a landing page which offers several exotic flowers, where people just can leave a request and pay you by whatever they want, by Casper or something. If at least of 10 people, if at least 5 pay, it shows that your idea quite valid, it's quite strong and solid, and you can actually do more iteration to improve it, improve design, improve other features, etc. But if you talk about something, not a traditional business, talk about some potential AI product or SaaS product, IT product, you might think, how the hell am I supposed to build this MVP if I have no coding experience? I suppose that not all of you have coding experience. And it means that even if you have an idea, you will need to, find somebody or learn coding. For example, if you decide to build your project by by yourself, or maybe by hiring somebody, you will see the framework of how any IT product actually is designed and produced. So any IT product you have in mind, probably like 99%, has these two parts primarily. It has front end and back end. Back end is a place where you interact, you as a customer or as a user interact with the product. Front end is this part, and back end is the part where you perform the logic. So I have this analogy. It's my favorite analogy to explain what's front end and back end. So if our product is like compared to cafe shop or something like restaurant, the front end part is actually the place where we sit, where our customers sit and order food, eat, etc. And the back end part is a kitchen where meal produced, where our food is cooked, etc. So where all this happens. It doesn't mean that any of these parts is actually important than another. They only could work in in a tandem with each other, and only in this way you can produce something great. Okay, now knowing what's front end and what's back end means, we go here. So if you decide to actually hire engineer, like some middle-level software developer, to build your startup or build your MVP, if you have not that complex and not that simple product in your mind, or something in the middle, it would probably take you a month of building if you have, for example, full stack engineer, and you probably need to pay him, if it's not your friend or your co-founder just hired engineer, you probably need to pay him the average salary of around $1,000 or 500,000 tenge, which is actually a lot to just test your idea. It's a lot of money and nobody wants to lose it, not being sure that it can actually produce or generate another revenue. Okay, it's about time, it's about money, and this is about the stack your potential engineer or even you yourself, if you want to learn, have to actually know and be able to do if you want to build it. For the front end, only for front end, you need at least HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and some framework like React or Vue. For backend, the easiest option probably would be to use Python, Django, and for database, you need to use PostgreSQL. It's actually a lot of, it requires a lot of skills, a lot of dedication and time to build something valid, just to test your idea. You actually don't know whether it's going to be successful or not. It could easily flop and be just failed product. So I have another framework, another potential framework that you yourself can use just today and build your product by, I don't know, by the end of the week, in 7 days, maybe less. So this product represents the same structure, the same front end, back end, and database, but using mostly free tools without writing any code. So in this case, instead of actually writing the website by ourselves, creating front end using React and code and spending a lot of time and money, you will use your Telegram, which is, I guess, all of you have, all of you use it on daily basis. And I guess a lot of young people use it much more often than browsers, at least on mobile, which means it's a common medium for them. And they will probably it would be more convenient for them, for your potential customers, to use Telegram instead of browser. Okay. For front end, we'll use Telegram. For backend, we'll use compilation of two products, two tools. The first one is make.com, the actual topic of today's lecture, and we'll talk about it in details later. And the second one is OpenAI API. So you've probably heard about OpenAI. Anyone heard about OpenAI? Please raise your hands if you've used it. So I guess almost everyone heard, but basically, OpenAI is a company that produces ChatGPT that we love and use on a daily basis. And they have a wonderful product for developers and for entrepreneurs, startups. It's an OpenAI API. It allows you to use the same functionality of that ChatGPT has, like text generation, image analysis, but in your product, in your app, in your Telegram bot, in whatever you want. So the combination of these two products allow us to almost replace the backend, this backend structure of Django, of Python, and instead of database, instead of using PostgreSQL, which is by itself actually a complex method of building, you have to actually know SQL, you have to know how to write these queries. It's a lot of time to learn it. We'll use basically Google Sheets. I'm sure that all of you know how to use Google Sheets, or at least work in Excel. Basically, it's the spreadsheets, tables, and database by itself is also a table of your information. So we can actually replace using this hard to learn and master PostgreSQL by this Google Sheet, which all of us already used. Okay, and besides that, it's like easy to master. It's also very cheap and takes you much less time to build and to master. So approximately, as I said, for not that complex bot, not that easy for mid bot, you probably need a week if you master these tools, and mastering these tools actually takes not that much time, probably a week by itself. So you only need 2 weeks overall for building the product, the whole MVP by yourself alone. And it probably will cost you 100 times less. So it's not 500,000, it's just 5,000. It will probably, you'll need it for OpenAI tokens only, because Make has a very generous free plan, at least for testing and building your idea. Telegram is free, as you know, Google Sheet is free. So we only need, even you can start with less. You can start with, I don't know, several thousand, 2,000 tenge at the price of coffee to just test your idea. And maybe it could be potentially be the next big thing. Okay, so we now know the framework that we can use in order to build the products like in lightning speed, much faster than we did. Now what's Make? It's actually the main topic of today's lecture, but we still didn't pay enough attention to it. So basically Make.com, before I say, has anyone heard of it or maybe used? I think in Kazakhstan, it's not that popular yet, but it's actually a very powerful tool, given that it has very generous free plan and almost anyone can start and use it and master in several days. So Make.com is actually a no-code automation builder that allows you to just by simply connecting and dragging and dropping blocks with each other to build and automate your workflows. For example, I had recently a client that asked me to automate posting and publishing to Telegram and Instagram some news. So this automation required me to fetch current news every day. It was like 12 times a day, 12 times, it's a lot. It fetches the news 12 times a day, then it creates text for it. For example, it could be news from different Kazakhstan news sources, world news sources, etc. So it builds text for every news, then it generates a poster, and then it publishes both in Telegram and Instagram. So we actually saved him about 500,000 tenge for salaries of his journalist who collected this information and his moderator in social media, because he actually didn't need any of it. It was a news channel for about, I don't know, it was 100,000 followers in Instagram and several thousand in Telegram. It was a lot. And he saved a lot of money just by using something like this, by building some automation like this. So actually, it's a very powerful tool if you know how to use it. Okay, having said that, right now we actually will start building, practicing, but before we start practicing, I would like to share this, not insight, but more of a trend of today's time, because now it's actually a GPT wrappers time. Anyone heard about GPT wrappers? The concept. So basically, as I said in this slide, OpenAI has OpenAI API, which allows you to use functionality of OpenAI by super cheap price. It allows you to build your product around this OpenAI API, around functionality of ChatGPT. And ChatGPT by itself, it's very powerful. I guess all of you use ChatGPT. Have you used ChatGPT? So yes, I think it's very powerful and popular amongst young people, especially. So what these people do, developers, entrepreneurs, both here in Kazakhstan and abroad, they build certain product in super narrow niche using OpenAI API. For example, this one is solely AI. What it does is actually a tool for students in school to use in order to, solve problems. Even for university students, when I was in university, I used something called Chegg or Course Hero to find some solutions that I couldn't just solve by myself. Now, not all kids actually know that ChatGPT can solve a lot of problems. So random people build this app called Solvely AI. They simply wrapped this front end, this simple logic around this OpenAI API, and they have now $6 million ARR. ARR, if somebody doesn't know, it's annual recurring revenue. So every year, stably, they has $6 million in revenue. It's a lot. It's actually, I think they're on their way to being a unicorn startup. So it's a simple indicator of what simple app correctly using ChatGPT or OpenAI API can actually do. Another example, maybe if you see in TikTok, it's a very popular app called Cow AI app. It allows you to, as it said, track your calories with just a picture. As you know, if you, for example, send a picture to ChatGPT and ask it to, for example, analyze it and return something, it will analyze and return. These people, probably 1.5 years ago, they deduce that if I say, for example, send picture to ChatGPT and ask him to deduce the potential calories intake, carbs, protein, fat, it will probably deduce with, as they say, 90% probability, which is a lot because nutrition themselves only can do around 60%. So not every people can say you what, for example, how many calories in these pancakes, but this AI can. And it only uses OpenAI API. So basically, if we, have a simple analysis of what it does, they simply build iOS and Android app to have access to camera, take a picture, they send it to ChatGPT, ChatGPT analyzes it, and then it returns the information about calories. And they, having that, have $12 million ARR annually. It means 1 million every month. It's a lot of money. So not every big tech company in Kazakhstan makes so much money by simply creating GPT wrapper. So now that you know what's GPT wrapper, you know what's the framework of using Telegram, Make, and OpenAI for building products, we can actually start and try to build simple bot by ourselves. So I will now share a screen. If you allow me, it will take me probably several minutes, and we'll show you how easy it's done. Да, wrapper. Because it wraps around GPT, yes. Да, обертка вокруг GPT. Before we start, does anyone has questions? Because we can just discuss them. Yes? No? I just have a bad side, sorry.
Do the users have some problems with GPT?
With what?
Is it good, well done work from GPT? No problem. No.
You mean the correctness of information? I'm sorry, just. Да?
Да, на русском. Насколько сам GPT работает хорошо, то есть решает задачи, там не глючит, не зависает. Я слышал, есть такие проблемы.
Да, вообще есть порция галлюцинаций, которые допускаются в GPT. Ну, как бы сами создатели говорят, что это возможно. Обычно она не такая большая, особенно если касается несложных проблем, и зависит от модели. То есть, если вы знаете, там у них есть большое семейство моделей, начиная от самых дешевых. Чем дешевле модель, тем больше вероятность, что она будет галлюцинировать или иметь неточную информацию. И наоборот, допустим, самая последняя модель O3 она стоит очень дорого, как API, так и вот использование просто в ChatGPT, но она имеет очень хорошую возможность. То есть она решает задачи математические, физические намного лучше. Но опять же, есть ограничения, потому что ChatGPT, вообще все эти большие языковые модели, они обучаются на том, что уже существует. То есть если вы дадите ей физическую задачу, которую никто не решил, она, скорее всего, не решит. А если кто-то когда-то решал, она обучается на том материале, который есть в интернете, в других базах данных, и может решить эти задачи. То есть уровень там на таком, я бы сказал, что это не подойдет для ультраточных калькуляций, но для вот базовых приложений, для изучения языка, для вот калькуляции калорий, мне кажется, это подходит 100%. Опять же, зависит от модели. Вот. Угу. Я могу. Да.
Ну, лучше на русском. Благодарю за конференцию. Хотела бы поинтересоваться, а возможно ли вообще чат GPT вот создать, допустим, на Python и на PostgreSQL, допустим?
То есть не используя их API с нуля, да?
Да. Это возможно вообще?
Да, вообще на самом деле прям вот с нуля, не используя никакие ресурсы, скорее всего, нет. То есть в их разработку вкладывались миллионы, но есть открытые языковые модели, open-source, с открытым источником кода. Например, DeepSeek — это открытая модель. То есть у многих компаний есть проблема с конфиденциальностью. Скажем, если вы скажем, вы Каспий, и вы хотите, чтобы ваши инженеры или другие работники использовали OpenAI, ChatGPT для работы, вы не хотите, чтобы эта информация уходила в большую базу данных OpenAI, потому что она секретная. Для этого они используют open-source модели, как DeepSeek или другие альтернативы, устанавливают их у себя на огромных компьютерах. Условно, чтобы DeepSeek установить себе, вам нужен что-то вроде самая мощная версия MacBook, если я не ошибаюсь, и ее уже достаточно, чтобы ее локально. То есть эти данные никуда не уходят. Так можно, но чтобы прям обучить модель самостоятельно, вот с нуля условно, не используя ничего open-source, мне кажется, для этого нужны большие ресурсы, прям вот колоссально большие на уровне вот гигантов компаний, как Google. Да.
А искусственный интеллект вообще в целом?
Насколько возможен?
Или да.
Да, получается, то, что мы сейчас называем искусственным интеллектом, в Инстаграме можете услышать, в Ютубе, это вообще не искусственный интеллект. Как вы сами знаете, это просто большая языковая модель, обученная на большом датасете, и она может отвечать на вопросы. У нее нет памяти, он не думает, у него нет интеллекта. Но OpenAI уже который год, третий год подряд говорит, что мы вот-вот создадим AGI. AGI — вот это уже Artificial General Intelligence, и это то, что будет являться вот конкретно искусственным интеллектом, созданием. Они говорят об этом, что вот мы вот-вот создадим, но по их расчетам примерно в ближайшие 5 лет уже появится AGI. Или они, или какая-то другая компания создаст. То есть, да, я думаю, в ближайшие 5 лет кто-то из компаний создаст вот реальный искусственный интеллект, который уже там будет по-настоящему думать. Он не будет просто большим датасетом, который просто может отвечать на вопросы.
Хорошо, благодарю за ответ.
Спасибо. Все, да, я могу делать демонстрацию. Мне нужно, кажется, зайти заново. Да, я, кажется, у меня вышел, когда я закрывал, когда я зайду заново. Нет, чуть дальше. Я могу, да, делать демонстрацию? Okay, we can start now. If anyone, just by any chance, has a laptop, you can just use it to build together. And if not, I guess Isa will be recording of something of this lecture. Yeah, okay, so you can just watch the recording and build it by yourself at home. But it's easy, I guess you can just remember it. So in order to start, we should enter the make.com website. We just enter make. I'm sorry, it's had some problems, right? Oh, okay, I see. So in order to start, we have to enter make.com website. So this is a landing, and after we click get started, we simply create an account using Gmail or email or like Google, and then we enter. After we enter, we see the dashboard of ours. So this dashboard is basically represents how many scenarios, these workflows we have, how many operations it performed, and so basic dashboard information. It's not that important for now. What important is that we have to create a new scenario. So we click create a new scenario button, and then we have a new canvas, a new artboard. It's completely empty, and now we can actually start to create something. Before we start, I would like to briefly explain what make consists of, what workflows consist of. So basically, as you've seen on my presentation, each workflow, each scenario consists of several blocks. Each block represents, it performs some task. Let's have an analogy. If one workflow is designed in order to, automate or replace one department in a big company, for example, marketing department, each block is going to be an employee, perform task on one employee. For example, if we take marketing, in marketing, we have copywriting experts, we have designers, developers sometimes, SMM, marketing, and so on. So each block would be designed in such a way in order to, replace or perform one task of this employee. For example, we can have an OpenAI block that writes text for us, and we don't need copywriter. We replace copywriter in this chain of action. After copywriter has, text written, we need a designer to design some, poster information. For this, we also use OpenAI or some other image generation model in order to generate a poster. So we have another block that performs another, key action of one employee. We can have another instead of SMM, so that it publishes, as I said before, to some social media. So and so on. Each block represents some task. Sometimes, so going back to this analogy, sometimes several blocks are needed to perform one task. Sometimes one block can actually perform several tasks. But the overall idea is that one block can replace some action, so that people don't need to do it, and it's done by by machine, by this tool. Okay, let's actually start. I can do it like this. So in order to start, we need to click this plus button, and we see this window. This window actually allows us to select several blocks. The key advantage of using make.com instead of other alternatives is that it has a lot of integrations. Integration with popular apps like, as we see, Google Sheets, OpenAI, Telegram, HTTP, Airtable, Google Drive, Gmail, Instagram, like almost anything you need or use on daily basis, even Notion is here. You can integrate in your workflow and automate this task. And it's actually very useful. So for now, we will start with building a simple Telegram bot that we write a message and it actually answers this. Just a simple GPT wrapper. Okay, in order to build it, we click Telegram bot here. After we click Telegram, we have the access to all Telegram block types. It has a lot of potential blocks. So for now, in order to start, we need to use watch updates block. So we use watch updates, click on it, and now it appears on our workflow. It's the first block. It's a block that starts our automation. So now, in order to set up it and connect to actual Telegram bot, we need to create a webhook. So let's create a new one from the start. In Telegram blocks, we have both webhook and connection. Without diving deeper in technical details, we simply just remember that connection connects us to Telegram and webhook to certain actions that Telegram performs. So now we also let's create another connection. And here we can name it, for example, like, I don't know, bot connection. And we have a token. We have, if we delete this suggestion, we have a potential token that we need to insert in order to connect it to Telegram. This token is obtained in the Telegram itself. So the next step to do is to enter Telegram. Oh, I'm sorry. I have to restart my presentation to display the whole screen. And stop share. Oh yes, can I share it again? So do you see my screen? Yes, fine. So in order to create your bot in Telegram, we have a wonderful bot. It's a father of all bots. It's like named bot father. We type bot father and we have it. In order to start, we click start here, and then in order to create our bot, we click new bot. Now it asks us to give it a name. So let's give it, some potential name like Tericon lecture. Yes, Tericon lecture. And we can use it like this. Okay, then it asks us to create a username, and it says that it should end by a word bot, if you see it here. So okay, we'll call it Tericon lecture bot. We send it, and it creates our bot. If we enter the link, we'll get to this bot. It doesn't actually do anything for now. We didn't set up it yet, but we will go for it. And now we click to this token it returned. It starts from here, as you see, and we copy it. And then return to our Google Chrome. Yes. And here in token input field, we insert it and save. We wait several seconds at least until it loads, and then we create the webhook name. It could be called like, again, lecture webhook. And we save it. And then click save again. So now we have connected our make.com scenario to Telegram, to a certain Telegram bot. It doesn't actually perform anything, but we can test it, how it works. We click run once here, and we see that it's loading. It means that now it's actually active and working. Then we go back to Telegram, to our Telegram bot, and we click Начать. Going back here, we see the log report. I hope you see it. It shows us the message, chat ID, date, and the text of message itself, start, as you see it here. Okay, at least our bot works well, and we can continue doing the next steps, adding the next block. So to add the next block, we click plus button. Then we find the OpenAI, and here we also have several OpenAI types block. We, for now, need the simple create completion. We click it, and it appears in our workflow. So here we also have a connection. Since I've also already worked on this account, I have a connection, but I will show how to create it. We again click add, and we create a name, for example, lecture connection, and we need to insert API key. Has any one of you worked with API key or knows what it means? So yes, I guess some of you work. Basically, API key allows us to use some APIs. As I said, we will use OpenAI API in order to connect to it. And API key is a simple password that allows us to use, our account's money in order to use OpenAI API. Now I show how to use it. For now, if we delete this suggestion, we should go to platform openai.com. Then we login to our account. I will login by using Google. Okay, I have an error. I guess there is some technical issue with the OpenAI platform. I'll try again. So yeah, I guess it works now. So here we see the main dashboard of OpenAI platform. It's actually very useful if you're going to work with any type of AI. So if you want to work, I guess you should get used to it, to seeing it. So here we need to go to dashboard. And then in the menu, in the sidebar, we have API keys. I have several API keys for several tasks, and it's very secret stuff. So the very important thing to know is that nobody has to know your API key. If anyone has the access to your API key, is the same as password. He can access your money in your OpenAI balance. He can access your tools and basically use your account. So it's a very important notion, warning: do not share your API keys. So for now, I will create API key, start like, lecture, and create secret key. So now I'll copy it. It doesn't show the full code, so I'm safe. And now I insert it here and save. And we have connected OpenAI API to our make.com workflow. So in a matter of minutes. And now we actually need to set up what it's going to do, what this precise block, what it's going to do. So now we're going to select the model. As I said to you, there are a lot of OpenAI models. If I click here, you see all the modules. Here we have O4 model, O3, O1, GPT 4.1, and many, many models. As I said, there are more cheap models, but they tend to be more like stupid. And there are more expensive models, and they are smarter. They can perform harder tasks, but they cost a lot. So in order for you to understand how it works, I will enter API pricing just to illustrate approximately how it's going to cost. So OpenAI API works by tokens. You basically add some money to your balance, for example, $5. You add $5 to your account, it's approximately 2,000 tenge. And then you buy, every time you use OpenAI in your API or your users use OpenAI, they basically spend your tokens. And each token spends some amount of money. So for you to understand this, how many you're going to spend, how much you're going to spend, basically for one request that, for example, I sent to ChatGPT and say him, could you please give me a recipe for, cooking some meal? It will spend around 1,000 input tokens, or maybe 500 input tokens, and approximately 1,000 output tokens. What's the difference? Input tokens are needed for input text that you insert to ChatGPT and send to it, your instructions, your prompt, basically. And output, it's what's generated by OpenAI. So for example, if I insert my full homework essay and say it, analyze and give me very short description, it will spend a lot of input tokens, but not that much output tokens, because I send a lot of information and he returned only like a fraction of information, maybe several sentences. And otherwise around, if I send simple instructions like write me 1,000 words essay about climate change, it will spend 100, maybe 200 input tokens and a lot of output tokens, maybe several thousand. But it's still not that much money, because I don't know, could you see it? But if I show it like this, basically for 1 million tokens, we only pay in this GPT 4.1 mini, only pay like 40 cents for million tokens. If our, on average, one request is 1,000 tokens, we can send 1,000 requests. I'm sorry, 1,000 requests for just 40 cents. 40 cents is like nothing, 300 tenge, I guess. So I guess it's very cheap. We also have more expensive models like 4.1. It's much smarter, but it's more expensive, $2 for million tokens. But also has less expensive, like 10 cents for million tokens. And here, as I said in previous examples, that we have O3 models. We pay $10 for million tokens. It's much more expensive, but it's much more smarter. So it depends on the task you perform or ask OpenAI API to perform, which one to use. In our case, going back to make.com, we're going to use probably 4.1 mini for the example, and then we'll change it. So we wait until it works fully. So yes, it loaded, it connected, and now we have a thing, messages. Messages is basically what you send to this OpenAI API. So if I click add a message, I select a row. We have 3 rows: user, assistant, and developer. We actually don't need to dive deep in this, but user is what your user sends as a prompt. In developer, you can set up how it's going to answer. For example, some instruction prompt. act as, recipe master or act as nutrition expert and return the calories amount, blah, blah, blah. So it helps us to understand the task better. It will send every time, no matter what user sends. Okay, for now, we will use user message. And here is the text content. And here it gets interesting because we're actually going to use make.com to connect several blocks together. If you see it on the screen, when we click to text content, we can select the results of the previous block of Telegram bot. As you see, we have Telegram bot, like as our. Here we have Telegram bot as the first block and OpenAI as the second. For now, we are setting up the second bot. So I will use the result of OpenAI, what user actually sends me as a message, to send it to OpenAI text, OpenAI request. So now I see the message here, and I see the chat. No, I see the message, and I should see the text here. Message and text. And here it shows, I don't know if you see it, it shows in a gray text start. So it's an example of how the message looked when we tested it. For us to easier navigate, we choose text as a text content of user prompt. And then we just, for now, we save it. We also have another input. It's not that important, max completion tokens. Just you can limit the token usage if you want. But for now, we'll leave it as a default and save. So basically, if we now ask some question to our Telegram, it will send this message to OpenAI and return some answer. But the answer will not come to us as a Telegram message because we haven't yet set it up. We click plus button again, we click Telegram bot, and then we go to send a text message or reply. And here again, we will use the results of previous blocks in order to send message back to user, to this exact user, not some random, to this exact. So we click chat ID, and as I said before, we will see here the results of all previous blocks. Since it's a third block, we will see the results of first block and the second block. So now we'll go to first block. We click the message here and then select chat and ID to know to who exactly we need to send this request, this response. Here's the text. Text is the information we're going to send to user. So in our case, it's going to be the result of OpenAI completion. We click result, and that's it. For now, we can simply save it. We also need to check the connection here. Yes, it's bot connection. It works okay, works fine. And I will click run once to test it. Then I go back to Telegram, enter my bot, and ask something. For example, what is the capital of Kazakhstan? We go to make, and we see the iteration performs. And it happened because we see each of these titles is green. It's an indicator of successful completion. And here we have the message. The capital of Kazakhstan is Nur-Sultan, but the capital of Kazakhstan is actually not Nur-Sultan. And it's actually happened because we've used a cheaper model. We used model for like 40 cents per million input tokens. It's really a cheap model, and it's shown here. The result is quite not current, up to date. So we go back to OpenAI model, and for example, in order to test it, we will use another model. For example, GPT, instead of mini, we will use default 4.1. It saves, and we save it. Again, we click run once. We go back to Telegram. We copy this message exactly and send it again. And here we have more detailed answers. The capital of Kazakhstan is Astana. It was formerly known as Nur-Sultan, blah, 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 blah. That means that this model has more up-to-date information and data, and therefore it costs a little bit more. But for our case, I guess it's crucial to have more up-to-date information, so we use it. But now it just illustrates the difference between different models. Okay, so it basically already a simple bot. So you can actually go deploy it right in make.com. So in order to deploy, you just save it. You click back arrow, and then here we have a toggle. We click on, and it's deployed. So it's already I can, for example, send you a link to this bot in Telegram, and you can ask a question. It will answer, and you can use it as an alternative to ChatGPT because the function, at least for text generation, is the same. But it's quite easy, right? It's still a good GPT wrapper, and it's still a good, illustration of what it can do, what Make can do. But it's still not that impressive. So for now, let's improve it. We will off it temporarily, and then let's imagine that we, for example, wanted not only answer to these simple questions, but also, as we saw before, calculate calories of the food using its image. I think it's pretty fun to do, given that it's actually a real startup and it earned a lot of money. So for now, what we're gonna do is to add another ChatGPT model, another Telegram model, another ChatGPT blocks, another Telegram bot, and added another features. But we will then have two separate workflows, one for text and one for image. In order to create several workflows like this, we click to this, right click to this chain, and then select add a router. Router is basically, if you know some basic programming, it basically like if statement, if else statement. It allows you to choose certain workflow depending on your condition. We click to it, we create another branch. So we have two branches here. And if we set up nothing, firstly, the first branch will be executed, and then the second branch. After this, if we leave it the same, it's not gonna work as we need it to work. For this, we need to set up conditions. If I click here, you can see here there is a simple gear tool icon. I click to it and I set up a filter. So the filter actually should differentiate between text messages and image messages. If it's text message, it simply answers the question. If it's image question or image message, it will calculate calories for our simple case. For now, for example, let's name it is text message, and condition is going to be, for example, we'll see if it contains attachment. For example, attachment file ID. If it does not exist, so there is no image, no attachment, then it's going to be text, and we'll save it. Again, we click to the another branch, we click to set up filter, and then is image message. Then we go to condition, again, find the attachment here, and we'll check if file ID of the attachment actually exists, and we save it. Let me check. Yes, it works correctly. So if we send a message, just simple text message, it will go by the upper branch. If we send an image, it will go by this. Okay, now let's set up the actual calories calculation. We click again on plus button. We select OpenAI, and then we see here analyze image block, analyze image vision. We need to select the most up-to-date model here. I guess it create, yes, GPT 4o for now we will use. And then we will use prompt something like you are an expert in calories estimation by image. Calculate calories and return detailed information. Okay, here is a simple prompt. You can improve it if you do it for production, but for now it's okay. And here we have images that's going to be sent. For now, we can select either image URL or image file, but before we do it, we save it. For now, let's just let it be I save it, and before this block, I will add another block. It's gonna be add a module, Telegram bot is gonna download a file. So this just simple block will just download a file by file ID. The file ID will receive here from message attachment and file ID and save it. If we go back here to OpenAI model, we already have it here. So make.com already set it up for us to use Telegram bot, download a file, and we save it. If it's correct, yes, we save it. And let's test it. For that, I will, find some burger image just to test. For example, this one. I will copy it and go to Telegram. Here I send only image, no text. It loads. I go back to my make.com. I see that my second scenario performs. And yes, we see that this block completion was successful because the indicator shows it. We actually can click this little number and see the information, the result. The result actually calculated the calories of the food we had. But we also need to add another block to actually send it back because it didn't send anything back. We click plus button, then Telegram, then send the text message. We already did it. Chat ID. From the first Telegram bot, we select message, then chat, then ID. And then we select from text, like here's your info. And then we save it. So now we can check it again. Again, insert image, send it. We see the calculation performs here. We go back to Telegram and wait for information. Okay. It's we had a very stupid mistake here. We just typed here's your info, but we didn't attach the results from OpenAI model. So we click to this result button and save it again. We test it, run, insert the image again, see that it works, and wait for the detailed information. And here it is. So it actually shows us the information of, burger, how many calories it has, how many calories fries has, and overall estimated total calories. And it's actually insane because I've tested it before and compared it to some common information. It actually shows pretty much like decent correctness of information. Okay, but we can also from now on improve this prompt. The prompt is basically in this message, in this block. We can ask him to also, connect just for the simple test, also include fat, protein, carbs info. And we save it. Again, we test it. Go back here, insert image, and wait. And now it's going to return the information about protein, carbs, and yes, we see approximately 300, 600 calories, proteins, 15, 30 grams, fat, carbohydrates, and also for fries. And it's pretty accurate. So basically just in 15 minutes, we built a simple bot, GPT writer, that people can actually pay for. If you improve it, if you from this, you save it, you go, you click on button, and now, for example, I can just copy this bot and send it to my friends and ask, could you use it? And ask, are you fine to pay $3 per month for this tool? If he says okay, it means that I can probably create such a product before I invest my money into building mobile app, web app, etc. It's just a simple example, but it shows that we can actually, using make.com, replicate the real startup that has crazy amount of revenue generation per year. I'm talking about calorie.com. So it's as simple as that. Just using several buttons, several drag and drop blocks. And it's just a simple example. As I said before, in my experience, I had an example where I had to automate, like marketing departments. We need to collect the information, write the text, generate image, and so publish it. It's one case. In other cases, I don't know, did you have such an experience? But if I go to cafe with my friends and we just order food for everybody and then we have to divide the food manually. It's super like stupidly, we need to calculate everything manually. So just for fun, I decided to build such a bot using make.com, where I just sent him an image of the check, and then using voice message, I sent, okay, Arman eated fries, Alisher eated burger, and Arujan eated, for example, cola. And I set the prompt so that it calculates everything and returns who has to pay how much. Especially it's useful when you go like with a big company and you don't want to calculate it by yourself. It's just a simple example how you can use it like manually. And this, I have a free account. So as you see, you can actually build and test. For now, if we go here to our dashboard, for 2 days, for like, I've tested it yesterday, I built several bots yesterday, and for today, it only spent like 12% of monthly quota. Free quota, and the data transfer is like insanely small. I mean 1%. So it shows you that you can build practically anything you want, not anything, but 99% of any idea using this bot just in an evening. If it's not something complex, if it's something complicated, you can spend like a week. But still, it's much better than you build an app. If it's mobile app, you have to, upload it to app stores and then wait for verification. It's a long process, and you also need the money and skills to build it. In this one, you can just test it in the evening, and then if it's successful, if people are ready to pay for it, you can just build an actual app. So I guess we are running out of time, right? So
we running a time.
Is it super strictly? Do we have like 5 more minutes?
I think yes, 5 minutes in a question. If somebody have, I think I see it have.
Yes,
it's
if you
okay.
have like 10 minutes, if it's fine.
5-10 minutes, okay.
Yes.
I think it's okay.
So we can answer questions, and I also prepared another simple bot which uses image generation model to generate logos, like logotypy. And it's also super fun to just, see how good actually it performs. So if you have any questions, please like raise your hand and answer. Yes.
So for instance, we created our MVP.
Yes.
And so you see that our product is vulnerable and valuable for market.
Mm-hmm.
So, and if there are any strategies
Mm-hmm.
for creating actual app without profound knowledge in web development or maybe full stack engineering?
Yes. I got your question. So I don't want this to be, an ad or something, but we just recently with a team created an educational product, which basically teaches you the basics of programming, prompt engineering, and proper AI tools usage to create such apps. It's a super basically there are actually already bots and websites where you can just prompt, like in ChatGPT, give me this app. It will give you an app, it will give you like at least web application, like a website, but it will be super baggy, it will have a lot of errors, and then to fix them, to actually push it to production and make actual users pay for it, you need some knowledge, some understanding of JavaScript, of how programming language works, how React works, because most of these tools use React and JavaScript in order to build your product, because it's very common setup. So yes, basically answering your question, if it's super easy, you can build it without anything, but it's going to be mostly like a clickable static website. Landing page is fine. You can build landing pages just entering both new website I can just simply show it how it works. So yes, it works like this. Create me. I just can show you something I already created. For example, it can create by simple prompts. It will take several minutes, but it will create you an app here. You just prompt the information you want, and it will. Superbase project removed. Okay, fine. If you just maybe this one, I guess, just a simple demonstration. So basically here you have your prompts information, what you type, and here you have a preview of your website. And you can actually deploy it to your hosting for free. For example, it's a simple geo catalog. Some subscriber of my blog, follower of my blog, asked me, he wanted to create, he's from Russia, he wanted to create a database of information from Udmurtia, if you know, it's a region in Russia. So trees and all this nature information like lakes, etc., in Udmurtia, and make it a catalog. So I showed him on a call how to build it, and here is example. It's just a simple something. It works, but again, it only could be used either for very simple landing pages or in combination with some skill of yours. You have to know how to basically works React, JavaScript, just at least basics, understand what's function, if statement, for cycles, etc. And it's not that complicated as it might sound. Actually, to learn the basics of React, JavaScript, HTML, you might need like 10 hours. I say it by example of the product we created, educational product. We recorded like 10 hours video lectures, and we explained everything. We built one landing page, we built one React product, two bots on make.com, one Superbase, it's for backend, and one on this boat. Complete products, like products from idea to end, to actually deploying to domain, to buying domain. So all of this information we managed to insert into 10 hours video. It's not one video, of course, it's like 83 lectures, but my point is that if you know the basics, you can use it to create your MVPs and they're not ready for like 10,000 of users. You have to understand this. AI tools are like up to 1,000 of users, they're fine. Because after that, your price will go up, or your database will be laggy. So you can go up to 1,000 users, and if you have 1,000 paying users, you can easily pay for engineers to build it for yourself. So Make is for super simple MVP, for you and your friends, for like up to 100 people. Both in combination with basic of programming, up to 1,000, I guess, like it's an estimation. And if you need something more, you actually have to like hire engineering team. But I guess I answered your question. Again, DM me in Telegram, and I will answer in details after this lecture. So any other questions? If no, yes. If we have time, I'm so sorry. I just want to show this. I guess it's just going to be interesting. If we don't have a lot of time, I will just show you what I played with yesterday. So yeah, to save time. Yes, it basically, this bot is something I played with yesterday. Just took me maybe 10 minutes to create. I will delete this and this. So what this bot does is actually create logotypes in PNG, like not just simple image, but in PNG without any background on your idea, on your prompt. I will just, you know how this model works, how this block works, and how this block. It receives message, it sends message. The interesting thing is here. We click on it, open, and we see that we have a block, generate image, not analyze image, not vision, which we used before, but generate image. You've probably seen that probably 2 months or a month ago, OpenAI released this big image generation model, and you've seen this Ghibli style anime images everywhere in Threads, Instagram. So yes, basically it's the same model. It's kind of expensive, not super expensive, probably like for generating hundreds of logo types, you need to pay probably 1,000 tenge. But I guess it's much cheaper than paying an actual graphic designer. I know how much they charge. So this is the prompt we use. We use like company name, and company name we receive from user. We actually can end information. And here's the prompt. We ask it, design a modern and versatile logo that includes both a brand name and unique visual symbol. Blah, 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 blah. Return it in PNG without background. So as easy as that. And after this, we just save it. We click run once. I guess we have to stop it and change the connection because it's a, I guess it's a different connection. Or I guess we are fine. Yes, we're fine. We save it. Since it's my yesterday's test bot, here it is. Yes, I just checked how it works. I can, any idea, for example, up that, any idea of company, like app that, for example, does like solves, what? Docs? Like in Russian, please? So yes, app that, catch docs, like maybe, yes, it's running, and we click send, and we see that it's started to generate an image. It's not always the great result. We have to iterate sometimes, but sometimes it really gets like very solid results on a level of junior graphic designer, much less expensive. So yes, image generation is actually the most, I guess, the most expensive and the most like longest generation of all. Because actually, if you try to generate at least these Ghibli style images, you've seen that it takes a lot of time to generate. Yes, and API works at the same time. So we now, I guess, receive it. Yeah, so now we see it. We see that it creates some kind of logo. It's not very, fancy logo. It's not like Nike or Apple, but still it's quite solid. It used the name, Catch Dogs, and a generated image. If we change the prompt to make it something more like, make it, colorful, make it 3D, we can actually just for a minute change design a modern 3D colorful logo and save it, and then run again, and then insert the same. Yes, wait for like, I don't know, 20 seconds probably. Я на самом деле, да, я вот когда примерно полгода назад я начал, нет, меньше, 3 месяца назад, в начале года 25-го, я начал экспериментировать с разными инструментами, чтобы просто проверять разные гипотезы. И наткнулся на Make. Make обычно используют для автоматизации разных процессов, но я начал использовать его для того, что нужно было мне. И он оказался довольно таким versatile, разнообразным, что можно было использовать, да, для построения таких мини-продуктов. Я начал смотреть YouTube-видео, какие-то там уроки, лекции. Да, я говорю, он не слишком сложен, просто чтобы научиться. Гораздо сложнее правильно его использовать. Я думаю, да, вот это самое сложное. Окей, если мы вернемся. Да, вот у нас здесь есть уже гораздо более интересное лого. Типа Catch Dogs. Actually, super interesting. Given that it costs us like 1 cent, maybe 10 tenge, approximately. And it's super fancy. We can also prompt it to, make it not vertical, but horizontal, and for different sizes, and it will return. And I guess at least some people are ready to pay. I mean, I would, if I had a company Catch Dogs, I would pay for this logo at least 5,000 tenge. I guess junior designer would charge me maybe 20,000 tenge, and maybe the result could be worse. I'm not saying that it could replace designers right away from now on, but I guess in future, yes, it's not very secure job. Just my opinion, as well as maybe programming. But yes, that was the reason actually why I left graphic design, to pursue programming and web development, because I've seen the first AI back in 2021, I guess 2022, that generated logotypes. They were much worse than this actually, but they charged like 100,000 rublei for a simple logo. And this cost us like 5 tenge. If you just, it took us these 3 simple blocks. If you go with this, you copy this bot and you send it to your, I don't know, a person who opens a business, and you ask, use it to create like up to 100 logo per month iteration, and pay me like, I don't know, $10. $10 is not that much. 5,000 tenge. I guess it's like 2 coffee. I guess he would accept your offer. And that would be your validation point. And actually the main topic of today's lecture, what I tried to convey, that you can use AI in order to test your ideas and not spend a lot of money for engineers and etc. Just learn how to use Make. If you want to build something more complex, as I said, using both, learn some programming basics. It's gonna take you like maximum, if you dedicate it 2 weeks, if you have only 1 hour a day, maybe it would like, I don't know, months, no more. Yes, basics of programming, just simple basics. It's gonna be, yes, you can actually write me in Instagram if like I can in detail talk to you about it, because we have no time, I guess. So yes, basically basics of programming, basics of make.com. No, not basic of Make you should master, because it's actually very versatile tool. And basics of programming, basics of both, and that's gonna allow you to build anything you want. Like I have this saying, I heard it and I use it every day. Never in history before the investment to learn programming basics was that high as now, because previously spending a month for learning, programming basics, something like this, you would, like in the best case, you would be able to create a calculator, simple app, the basic one, but spend a month. For now, if you spend a month, dedicate your time to it, and actually learn basics of programming, Make, both other apps, but this 3 is enough. You can basically create dashboards. You can create super like interesting apps. If you, maybe some of you have seen it in Instagram of mine, the video about this simple website I've created using both, by the way, both and some programming basics. It was a time when I didn't know whether I want to build my own startup or find a job. So I decided to create this simple app that basically you upload your CV, it analyzes, and you upload job description. For example, you apply in Headhunter, you copy Headhunter job description, upload your CV, and then I guess if we can use it. Okay, you can upload your CV, upload your company description information, and it will rebuild your CV using modern LaTeX text format. It's a format that is used by CV scanners, and it will improve your acceptance chance by like several 100%, because it will include all the key points that are included in the description of the job. For now, I've disabled it because I didn't need it. But for this app, at maximum, we had 150 users. Just apps that I built in 3 evenings using both and some programming. And it's a very interesting app. Just upload your CV description and it will return you a brand new CV. There is an actual not very ethical toggle in this CV where I can toggle it and ask it to lie in my CV, include information that I actually do not have, some skills. It's not very ethical, but I just wanted to test it. And it actually included information. For example, if in CV, in job description, they say React JavaScript experience 1 from 3 to 6 years, and I only have 1 year, it will write 3 to 6 years. It's not ethical, but at least it boosted my chances of having an interview. And then you can just, using your charm and your charisma to just get you a job. And it's a wonderful app. It costs me nothing, and it cost me nothing to operate for 150 users. They each generated a lot of CV. And it's actually like just an example. So I guess that would be it for today's lecture. I really thank you for your attention, for your listening. Yes. If you have any question, you can ask now, or if not, just DM me in Instagram or Telegram. Yes.
Также, если вопросы есть, у нас сейчас еще будет кофе-брейк в главном холле. Вот вы можете, в принципе, задать вопросы там, вот, если у кого-то они еще остались.
Окей. Fine, супер. Да. Да.